Hello, welcome to the Always Be Comedy podcast. Our guest today is the Rebooked episode when we have guests back on, and it is the maestro Glenn Moore. Tim, we have an update also to the Friday episode. So we sort of gave a behind the velvet rope account of what happened when we went to the premiere of Office Romance, the Netflix mega smash with Always Be Comedy's very own Brett Goldstein and Jennifer Lopez. So we went to the after party. This happened. This is breaking after the. If you've not done the Friday episode, you're in for a treat. So we went to the after party thanks to Brett, and what happened was we left, and Timo, this might be news to you. It looked like as we left, actual Jennifer Lopez arrived. So we missed.
Oh my god!
We missed J-Lo like ships in the night. But Timo, I've spoken to Nish since.
Yeah.
And he thinks. He got there around 11:15. He thinks J-Lo was at the party while we were there.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah.
God, wow, that's even more painful.
So he thinks, wow. We've said our goodbyes and exited. She was possibly, because there were different rooms, so she might have been in, say, there's the external.
She's in the courtyard.
She might have been in the courtyard.
So, oh my god.
That is so funny.
That's agony.
It is agony, but I think comedically it's funnier that we cross like ships in the night.
Absolutely.
Because obviously if you follow us on Instagram, Tim does. He performs miracles with these corridor pictures, and so the dream was to essentially pull off the ultimate corridor picture.
Oh, finally.
With J-Lo. Sorry, Tim. This is all Tim's great idea, and I don't mean to rub his face in it.
Oh no,
it was so close. Also, guys, I'll hold my hands up because I do the school run and so on. So I had a particularly early start the next morning, so that's why we left at 11.
Yeah.
Any parents who listen, staying at Shindig until 11 o'clock, for me, that's like the equivalent of like all night clubbing these days.
It was a Wednesday night.
It was a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
So Tim, I am truly sorry that we missed.
Oh my god, of course, absolutely fine.
Actual Jennifer Lopez. But anyway, if you've not seen the movie, please do check it out. So funny, big laughs. God bless Brett. And anyway, from one ABCer who delivers lots of big laughs to another in the great Glenn Moore. Tim, we love the bones of this man.
One of our faves. He's been doing a gig a lot recently. We like him a great deal. He is a man who he had never done podcasts before, and now he's got 2 on the go. It's a very impressive thing. He does.
Isn't that thing with Glenn? Because I think people have said for years, you've got to do a podcast. With your broadcasting heritage. Was he was Absolute, right? Virgin Absolute, right?
I believe so. Yeah. I think he did a few over the years, but yeah, I think the Dave Berry show was where he was most utilized. Let's say.
That's right. So Timo, sorry, talk us through the 2 podcasts.
So he does on Wednesdays the BudPod with Pierre Novelli. Fantastic. It's one of the sort of chatty podcasts. It's the 2 of them chatting, making each other laugh. It's very funny. And then on Thursday, Pierre Novelli's back with Glenn, and along with Sarah Keyworth from Button Boys, which is a video game podcast. Again, it's very funny. If you like video games, there's never really been a proper comedy vehicle where it's like very informed, truly passionate thing. I think this is maybe the best video game comedy crossover thing available right now. It's very, very funny.
Because whenever I look for video game content on YouTube, it's just very earnest, down the barrel things about, say, how to play through a level, or someone talking about how we get, maybe if a game went through some sort of like production hell or something.
Yeah.
But I've never seen apologies if I'm wrong. To the best of my knowledge, there's never been a comedy video game thing.
Not to this extent, anyway, I'd say.
Which one did Glenn bring up?
Well, he brought up the TV show Go 8-Bit, which was very good. But that
was more like celebrities having a go at video games, wasn't it? Rather than...
Yeah, it was. This is more properly for the real video game nerds. Like, they know they know everything. We're talking about Steam. Steam was never coming up on Go 8-bit. I think. Sorry if it did.
Yeah, but it was more insert name of comedian. It was Joel Dommett having a go at Mario Kart. Was it not?
Exactly that. It was exactly that. And look, very entertaining. But this is, yeah, there's more in depth. There's more for the nerds, for the gamers.
But by the way, I picked Joel as a huge compliment because my brain went TV comedian.
Oh yeah,
Joel Dommett.
Absolutely, yeah.
We hang on. I feel like I'm getting very defensive about picking Joel Dommett there. It was picked with love. Glenn Moore is with us. Tell you what, Tim, this recurring theme of Google Chrome not being as quick as... Just stop using it, James. I know, but what passwords and that are saying. Right, Saturday the 12th of September, Glenn Moore is with us at the Bedford in Balham, mate, Timo. Glenn Moore, Rachel Galvo, Michelle de Swart.
Mega bill. Mega bill alert.
Oh, you're not going to believe this.
Go on.
Destiny. Thursday the 29th of October, who's doing the double? Kennington and Chelsea. Glenn Moore and Joel Dommett.
Is it? Oh, yeah. That is good. That is fantastic.
So I wonder, I think subconsciously I must have known on some deep-rooted level that it was Joel on with Glenn to have plucked Joel.
Yeah, lovely. Very nice. Very lovely.
Lovely stuff. So Thursday the 29th of October at Chelsea, Glenn Moore, Joel Dommett, Piranha Pile. Thursday 29th of October at the Tommy Field in Kennington, Joel Dommett, Glenn Moore, Chantel Nash. Lovely stuff. And then Tim, Glenn is doing some Edinburgh Whips. Please talk us through that.
Yes. I know he's keeping it semi-secret because I think very much his words, don't worry. He's slightly worried about the general public seeing incredibly new stuff. So he's sort of just telling people who listen to his podcast, and I'd like to think that includes our lot as well. Our lot, good comedy fans. So it's at 11:05 in the morning. Wonderful at the superb Monkey Barrel 1. And that is for the first 2 weeks of the Fringe. So the 3rd to the 16th of August.
Absolutely love to see it. Here he is, the great man, Glenn Moore. Hello, welcome to the Always Be Comedy podcast. It's our Rebooked podcast. We welcome back the great Glenn Moore. Glenn, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
You're the new pod king. You've got so many podcasts nowadays.
I have two podcasts, having never done podcasting before, ever. I've been podcasting for 1 year now.
Congrats.
Yeah. I joined, Phil Wang left BudPod with Pianovelli, and I replaced Phil. And then I started up my own video games podcast called Button Boys, again with Pianovelli and the brilliant Sarah Keyworth. So, it feels weird to have replaced, like, breakfast morning radio with sitting in someone's shed. But it's nice. I can see why people do it.
What a lovely voice you've got, Glenn.
Thanks, James.
Do you do? You must do ads and stuff, voiceover.
Oh, kind of not many. I I did one last year. This is when I was still at Absolute. I probably shouldn't tell this, but I was still at Absolute. The breakfast show was sponsored by Wix, meaning you got to be really nice about Wix. Can't even mention like B&Q on air, that sort of thing. And I got asked to do an advert for Screwfix, and I was, but not like the voice of Screw. The voice of Screwfix is Kay Kurd, but it was to be like an employee at Screwfix in the background counting up stock, and the whole advert was just like, look how many products we've got, 100,000 different products. So it was just this voice in the background going like 99,999. 10,000, that sort of thing. And I was like, I wonder if I can do this without anyone finding out. And so when I got to the actual like advert, I was trying to like change my accent as much as possible. And I was like, I was trying to almost direct it myself. I was like, I think the guy would be doing it. I think he'd be doing it in a really hushed whisper where he's almost inaudible. And I was so frightened that I was going to get found out and I was going to get sacked or whatever because my voice was reading numbers in the background of a Screwfix ad. But that was that's actually the only one I've ever done. That's the only like voiceover one I've done, and then the only other kind of advert I've done was it wasn't really an advert. It was like a sort of sketch for Pantene with Ellie Goulding. This is in like, and it came out of nowhere. Like,
I'm
came
so
out of
happy.
nowhere. And it was going to be on in cinemas, but not like anywhere else. It wasn't going to be on TV. It was going to be on in cinemas. And so I had to sit down with Ellie Goulding and like grill her about her hair regime because she was like Pantene's
Finally.
ambassador. yeah. It's like Paxman, and they didn't send me like the advert afterwards. And so Katie and I, my wife Katie and I, we saw Johnny English 3 times in the hope of seeing the advert, and we never fucking did.
Oh my god!
Why did you have to go see Johnny English 3 times? Could have been on something else.
It could have been any other film, but it was the summer of 2018. There was a dearth of blockbusters, I think, but it was.
Oh my god! Even Rowan Atkinson will be like, "That is insane."
That's creepy. That's really creepy.
It's 3 more times than he's seen it.
Well, weirdly, we then we then went to the Edinburgh Fringe, and then straight after the Edinburgh Fringe, Katie and I went to France on like a sort of post-Fringe holiday. And
So he's John English twice.
Well, we went to a
nice.
place called Antibes, which is where a lot of Johnny English 3 is set. So we were telling everyone that we were going on like the Johnny English 3 tour. So you'll see all the iconic locations.
Like it's Casablanca.
And you can tell when other tourists are there. It's like Abbey Road. You can't.
Who can forget scene 7 when Johnny falls off a balustrade? Button Boys.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
By the way, one of our listeners, so grateful because they know that I like video games and Batman. Someone's recommended the new Lego Batman game. One of our Dean, thank you very much for the recommendation. Is that one you'd recommend?
From the reviews, absolutely. I've only ever played one Lego game before. I played Lego Horizon Adventures, where they combine Lego and Horizon Zero Dawn, the PlayStation game. And it's on PS Plus. It's on the PlayStation subscription service. And I played it last year. I'd never really had an interest in a Lego game before. It's so charming and tranquil. It just feels like you're playing a game on Christmas Day as a kid.
That's
But the new
nice.
Batman game it looks like it's genuinely funny and a lot of heart has gone into it. So yeah, I'd having not played it, I'd still recommend it.
So now this gaming gig, is this must be a bit of a dream come true. Right, I'll explain where I'm going with this. When I was a sports journalist, especially at the London paper, dream gig, I would get invited to all manner of events and shindigs, and I went to as much as I could. You're experiencing this in the gaming world, right?
Just now, kind of. I'd been to like a couple of gaming events before. I wrote for Phil Wang the 2 years he wrote for, he hosted the BAFTA Video Games Awards, and so went to like a couple of like adjacent events, and that was incredible because all the cast of the games and the directors and the developers there, and it was great. But yeah, it's only recently that I've suddenly realized that actually if you are involved in that sort of thing, you can just ask and see what you get. And so I've been getting in touch with so many like developers just on Instagram and being like, look, I host this podcast, here's the details about the podcast, we'd love to talk about your game, could we have some copies please? And they just like send you games. It's crazy.
Very cool.
But then last week we got invited to the premiere of 007 First Light, which the makers of Hitman have developed, and that was brilliant. It was like you felt like you were in like a Bond scene at BAFTA, and that was really, really, it was incrable.
Yeah, what a video game premiere is like.
So I don't know if this is like typical of this sort of thing, but it was at BAFTA in near Piccadilly Circus, and everyone took their seats in. It was like everyone took their seats in like a cinema, and they played like the trailer for the game because it was going to be coming out a couple of days later, and then the director of the game came out on stage, and they showed someone playing basically the tutorial, the opening prologue. They played Lana Del Rey's song, and then what happened was the cast of the game came out because there's so much like mocap. There are people from various. The guy playing Bond is like he plays like the young version of Dexter, basically in the
Right.
TV series. Yeah, but there's someone from like industry in the game as well, like Gemma Chan's in it, Lenny Kravitz. But they like brought out the cast for like a sort of like round table sort of thing on the stage, and then after that. It was like being at a wedding. There was sort of like canapes and drinks and stuff like that. But then that was on one side of the room. On the other side of the room was like this nerdy internet cafe, essentially, where they'd lined up loads of computers where people could just play the game. Right. So it was, which I guess you wouldn't get at like a movie premiere where like you can sit in a chair and watch a bit of the film on your own. But people were just queuing up to play like 5 minutes of James Bond. It was crazy. I'd never been to anything like that. But honestly, that's honestly been like my first foray into that sort of thing.
The game looks good, right?
It's really good. I've been playing it at the moment. It's thoroughly good. And it's best to not, because I thought it was going to be like Hitman with a 007 skin over the top, and it isn't at all. It's far more like Uncharted. It feels like it looks like Uncharted. It plays like Uncharted. It's got lots of sort of climbing and sneaking around, and all those glitzy events that you would go to in something like Uncharted. Like one of the first missions is at this chess tournament in this huge chateau in Slovakia. But it's got that real sense of, you're playing like a younger version of James. He's like 26 years old, this version of James Bond.
It's one of his first missions.
He's not even like a 00 agent yet, but each mission starts with like a bit of driving. You're driving on the way. Each mission starts with you driving through the countryside, and every mission always starts with you cresting a hill, and the music sweeps as you suddenly see the level like unravel before you suddenly see, oh my gosh, I guess I'm going to that town over there, I'm going to that palace over there. It's just good fun. It's good fun. And between missions, your sort of central hub area is Q's lab. So it's like in GoldenEye, where there's just someone in a phone booth and then it sort of, explodes in a big sort of airbag, or someone being fired on like a jetpacked office chair. All that stuff is like happening around you. It's so immersive.
Very cool.
It's good stuff.
When is it out?
Yeah. It's already out. Came out last
Is
week.
it out now?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd really recommend it. Tim, you got
It's
it
my
last
birthday
night, didn't you?
tomorrow. I'm going to buy myself the
Oh,
game.
happy
Hang
birthday,
on.
James.
Maybe don't, in case someone else buys it for you.
I'm not going to buy it tomorrow. It's not the happiest day of my life.
That was lovely stuff.
It's well funny. I get a bowling ball tomorrow with Tim on it.
It's like Pierce Brosnan's face
Glenn, I think we can say this.
stretched around the ball. Oh, you got the Brosnan ball. That's a really good one.
Glenn, I think we can say this. Your middle name's Roger, so you're Glenn Roger.
My middle name is Roger. Yeah.
Your parents
Roger Moore.
must have known what that was.
My dad's called Roger Moore.
Yeah.
So I guess his parents obviously didn't know, because Roger Moore was he was the oldest Bond, wasn't he? He was like 48 or something, his first one.
When you watch View to a Kill now, because I'm old enough, I went to the cinema to go see View to a Kill. Right.
My first one was World Is Not Enough, and it was a 12, and I was not. I was younger than 12, and it's the first time I got into a age restricted film. That felt great. But A View to a Kill was your first one. Was that Dalton? No, was it Roger Moore?
It's Roger Moore's last one.
Right.
It's Christopher Walken as Max Zorin. Duran Duran do the song.
Yes, that one.
Grace Jones
with blonde hair.
Race Jones is Mayday.
Brilliant.
But when you're a kid in the cinema watching a movie, you have no concept of whether a film is good or bad, and just so every film is amazing.
You go, it's been made, so that means therefore it has to be competent, right? You just accept.
The credits rolled, and I was like, what a brilliant movie. When you watch it now, he looks conservatively 137 years old.
Have you heard the story? Especially jarring with like someone like Daniel Craig also having played the same role. Yeah. I think I'm fortunate in that I'm still younger than any James Bond has ever been, but I know that difficult day is going to come where that first time you're older than James Bond is going to be really hard. Oh, yeah. In the same way that like the first time as a teenager, the first time you see like a Premier League footballer who's younger than you, and that was, I think for me it was like the real watershed moment was like I'm the same age as Theo Walcott, and when he got announced in the 2006 World Cup squad, and it was like I've got to do my fucking GCSE, like this is shit.
Yeah,
and he's getting to go to Germany or whatever. It was, oh man.
Still a part of it that's like, somebody might spot me. I might get on the plane.
It's never too late. It's never too late.
Even now, if I'm having I'm 48 tomorrow. Even now, when I have a kick around with the girls in the park, that's my two daughters, by the way, there is still a part of me that's like, what if Oliver Glasner is walking his dog?
Yeah, I think the two ways in through comedy are the Alex Horn football match, which you play in, or Soccer Aid, and you go, well, let's hope that naturally leads to a call up.
Yeah. Adam Wharton, it's a pleasure to play alongside you. What do you mean you're handling in a transfer request? Have you heard the Roger Moore running story?
No.
So I can't remember which director it was, but director gets a Bond movie and says to Roger Moore, who apparently is was a delight, but he says, right, in this scene, Roger, you're going to run like from here to the helicopter, and Roger Moore goes, no, I'm not. And director goes, yeah, it's not far. So you run from here to there, and he's like, I'm not. And director's like, why not? And Roger Moore goes, this is why not. And then he does the run. Apparently, Roger Moore ran like Phoebe and Friends. You never actually see Roger Moore running. It's always someone else.
Wow, that's like
that's good. That's good trivia.
God bless him.
Yeah, that's like how like the Americans didn't know that Roosevelt was in a wheelchair because he was just a president who was always just sitting down, and they just assumed, or like standing stationary behind a lectern. Wow, they didn't know. Yeah, so actually, like that Roger Moore. If you watch him back and you go, you never see Roger Moore standing up. He's only ever in a car or on a chair.
To anyone that I know that you've got a loyal following with Button Boys, but to anyone that's not checked out Button Boys, what can they expect?
I thought the reason I started it is because there wasn't anything really comedic in the video game space, and
there's not, is there?
Not really. There has been in the past, like Dara Breen's 8-bit, Go 8-bit, and the guys who made that make Wi-Fi Wars, which is an amazing live event. But there wasn't really anything sort of comedically in that space, and I thought I play a lot of video games and would love to be able to talk about them. And I'd been talking to Pierre Novelli about it, and we were interested. And then the person my mind immediately went to straight after that was Sarah Keyworth, because they got back into, having been a big gamer as a kid, they then got properly back into gaming in lockdown. And we lived quite close to each other in lockdown. And remember messaging each other when The Last of Us Part 2 came out. And we were just keeping each other updated on how we were finding it. Such a big emotional experience. And I just thought Sarah would be great for this as well. And so it's kind of a year in the making. Like, it took us a long time to sort of get it going and prepared. I wanted it to be ready. I wanted it to be a very clearly defined thing. So it's just 3 comedians talking about video games. And I listen to a lot of podcasts about video games, and I really enjoy them. But a lot of them are tied up in the industry, and it's an industry that's quite miserable in that there's a lot of layoffs all the time, and a lot of problematic behaviour at the top in a lot of video games companies, and a lot of stuff like acquisitions and developers being merged into other developers. And we just thought, all I want to, like, I would happily listen to a podcast where it was just someone listing the names of video games for 2 hours and then it ends. Like, I just want to hear about the content of games and what they feel like to play and people's memories of playing games. So that was kind of our rule. We only talk about video games. There's nothing about our personal lives. There's no chit chat at the top. Straight into what have you been playing this week, and then whatever topic we're doing that day. So I'm talking about it very sincerely now, but it's obviously very silly and dumb. But
yeah, it's great. It's really good.
Thank you so much. I kind of also wanted that opportunity to be able to talk to people about games, because it's still something that people feel kind of a bit embarrassed about. We have like a monthly special guest on, and we had George Fouracres from SNL in our most recent episode that's just come out this week, and he spoke so amazingly about like Pokemon and his experience playing games growing up. But afterwards, he was like, "I've never told anyone any of this stuff before," because he was like, "There's not really been the outlet." I found since doing it, I feel more comfortable like talking to people about games, like in green rooms and stuff like that. You might just ask someone like, what have you been playing recently?
Isn't that mad? Given it's a multi-billion-dollar...
It makes more than films. Yeah. It makes more than films. It's
more than films.
Yeah. Wow. Like GTA 6, which is coming out in November, has like the budget of a country.
Because they know it's going to print money.
They've got to hope it's got to make an absurd amount. I think it has to make like billions in the first week. I think it's crazy, but they make so much money from GTA Online. But this game's been in development. Bear in mind, the last GTA was in 2013, so they've been making this for a long time. The only thing they've made since then was Red Dead Redemption 2 in 2018, which was incredible. But 2013 was a long time ago, to the extent that GTA San Andreas, which came out in 2002, that was set in 1994 or whatever, and it was like a period piece. In which case, GTA 5, the most recent one from 2013, that is now a bigger period piece than San Andreas was.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's a bigger time frame.
I remember so clearly, Rich and Judy talking about how horrific GTA. It probably was. It might have been Vice City or something, or maybe it was San Andreas.
Yeah.
It was just how bad it is for the world.
It's such a pointless conversation that gets had sort of every few years about the impact and violence and stuff like that. And again, that was a frustration I had when people talk about video games, is they kind of start from scratch. Having the idea of Judy Finnegan explaining Grand Theft Auto is so preposterous. Because I remember clearly her saying on Richard and Judy's book club, they were doing a book that was about video games, and her being like, I've never played a video game in my life. Yeah. So I found it frustrating that every time there's a TV show about video games and they then have to sort of kind of dumb it down as if they're telling people for the first time what a video game is. If you were to do a sitcom about video games, I guarantee an executive would be like, well, we need to start off by explaining what a PlayStation is. When in reality, you go, everyone knows what this stuff is. Yes. Everyone knows what this stuff is. So there's no, on our podcast, there's no assumed knowledge. We will explain if we use a term like a roguelike as a genre, we will explain what that is. But generally, we're not going to say Call of Duty. Now, Call of Duty, cast your minds back to World War II. It's not it's not like that.
You're not having to do an episode about the history of Tetris or something.
Exactly that. So I think I'm not trying to get on my high horse about it, but that's what the podcast is. What I personally wanted to listen to. Is what I wanted to have exist.
Is there a little part of you? Do you ever let the mind wander? Think of Games Master, Sky One have their video game show. Is there a potential for a TV format?
We hope so. I mean, I've been working with my agency, Avalon, and a guy called Simon Parkin, who's the Observer's games critic. He has a brilliant podcast called My Perfect Console, where every week he has a guest on. It's basically Desert Island Discs. They choose 5 games that have sort of defined them as he interviews them about their life. And he created this format called the Audience Versus, which we've been doing at the Pleasance in London for about a year now. And we're having a sort of brief summer break. But we every month the idea is we'd have 2 comedians on. So our most recent one we did was Phil Wang and Ian Sterling, and the idea is we'd be playing bastardized versions of games against the audience. So I'd host it. I'd bring an audience member up, and we'd play something like Assassin's Creed Syndicate. So that's the Assassin's Creed set in Victorian London, and there's big TV screens around the venue. The aim is you are dropped into a random location in London. It is the first person to climb Nelson's Column. Find and climb Nelson's Column. You're not allowed to use the map. So it was just playing games with different rules, and the audience gets so excited and involved. Alien Isolation. Can you survive 2 minutes without getting killed by the xenomorph? But you you got to get as close to 2 minutes as possible. Yeah. Playing international track and field long jump, but trying to do the shortest jump you possibly can. Nice. It was just really, really good fun, and it was because we didn't kind of need to explain what any of these games were, because it was we're not playing them the way they're intended. And it was just so silly. It felt like kind of a Takeshi's Castle sort of thing, but with video games. So we're hoping that would be that's felt like a really, really fun format that just made sense, and I'd love to see that expanded further. It would be great. But I also like to the dream. I'd love to be doing more Button Boys, a sort of televised version of it would be great, because I previously worked on a BBC podcast. It was one of those early sort of visual podcasts like The Traitors Uncloaked. It's called Press X to Continue, and it's still going as a podcast, but we used to film it and it would go on BBC 3 at midnight or whatever. But it was just it was more like a journalistic take on video games, but it still worked on TV, and again it didn't dumb it down for people and explain what an Xbox is and start the same way every news report about games always does, which is things have come a long way since the days of Pong. Which is always, because that's when Cyberpunk did so badly back in 2020, I think it was, that it got pulled from shelves. That was such a big story, but it ended up on the news. those news stories were a fucking nightmare to read because it was just they had to explain from the dawn of time of gaming to what's happened here. Yeah, crazy stuff.
I mean, you're doing a great service to the game industry there.
Oh, I hope so. I mean, we certainly had. I was very surprised at that Bond premiere. The number of game developers who came over to say they listen to the podcast and stuff like that, and when I've been in touch with, for instance, the game Disco Elysium, which came out in 2019. It's one of my favourite games of all time. The studio separated into 5 different studios, but the original studio had a game, basically a spiritual successor to Disco Elysium called Zero Parades that came out a few weeks ago. And I got in touch with the studio in the hope of being able to get a copy of it so we could talk about it on the pod. And they were like, yeah, we listened to the pod. And it was just like, oh my God, the people behind one of my favourite games of all time have listened to us talking about cum. This is crazy. That's really interesting. So that's been really heartwarming, I think, and it's really sort of blown me away. It's been crazy. I'm really loving doing it.
You must be excited. Mock is back this summer, right?
Yeah, I'm doing it next week, which is nice. It's coming back for a few episodes, and then an extended series in the autumn, and it's been so much fun. I did about 3 earlier on this year, and the format is still very much the same. They've sort of elongated it. It's an hour instead of half an hour. So they've taken a few rounds from the Great American Joke Off, which was a US panel show that they made that Reese and I and Ed actually and Tom Allen were involved in about 4 years ago, and have taken some of those rounds and put them into the multi-week format. But I think there's something about, because it's on a what's the name of the channel again? TLC. TLC.
TLC. Or as I call it, TVC.
Yeah, it's it feels like there's almost less pressure, because on the BBC you were like, oh my God, 2 institutions at once, Mock the Week and the BBC. This is really, really daunting. And now, because it is on a channel that I genuinely hadn't heard of. I respect TV and TLC and everything they do. I hadn't heard of them before Mock the Week.
Yeah.
But you felt like this show is now only being watched by the people who want to watch the show, as opposed to people who left BBC Two on after whatever they've been watching at 8 p.m. and are furious at what's on now. So it's now a show that's fans of the show now watch it, and it feels, everyone mucks about a lot more, and it just feels a lot more relaxed, and it's so nice to be doing it again. It's such a fun show. I certainly feel more relaxed doing it.
We've also got to say, even though due to middle age sometimes getting the initials wrong, these guys, this channel, I mean, they're the saviors of British TV comedy, aren't they?
Yeah, Pascoe and Rasheen Connerty's travel show, Ed Gamble's new panel show.
Yeah,
I think there's another one on the way as well.
Yeah, that's right. There's other stuff on the way. I mean, somebody at that channel loves comedy.
Yeah, because what did it used to do? Wasn't it like crime dramas or something? It was like reruns of crime dramas or something like that.
Oh, was it?
I can't remember.
It certainly wasn't this.
No,
it certainly didn't used to be this level of comedy.
More. I don't know many people know this. More people watch it now than did the final few series on the BBC. It has more people watching it now.
Oh, that's a lovely bit of business.
Partly because they put the episodes straight up on YouTube afterwards, And if you're in America, that's how you're going to watch it. And so it's in the same way that Taskmaster is on YouTube in America, and they'll never sell it to a TV channel, because why would they? It's it makes so much money from YouTube, because that's how the entirety of America watch it. I think, yeah.
I mean, a crazy amount of subscribers or something.
Yeah.
I mean, when Greg and Alex walked out on one of the Seth Meyers appearances, I mean, Obama levels of. I mean, the noise, the din that. I mean, it's extra. It's how many YouTube thing?
How many British TV shows have an advert in Times Square?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome. Before we get to the format bit, and then BudPod, I mean, that's going great as well, isn't it?
I was so nervous about doing that, because, again, it came at a time when I'd never done podcasting before, and I was aware that, although BudPod had a very loyal following and a lot of people love Pierre, and Pierre set it up, Phil has such an enormous international profile that I thought this is... we're really going into a deficit by bringing me on board. And I was worried that like within a few weeks of doing it, Pierre was going to go, we have lost 99.7% of our, we are going to can it now. But
in fact, I'm going to go solo. It's just
yeah. And it's been lovely, and it's been so fun, and it's been nice to do a weekly show where I'm myself. My agent put it quite nicely in that she was like, "Oh, BudPod's the version of Glenn that I go for dinner with, or whatever," as opposed to me on stage is not me at all, because it's just
that's nice.
It's just silly, and it's it's not. It's quite an almost aggressive persona, I guess, and petulant on stage, and it's all made up stuff, and it's all just the jokes come first, and then the storyline sort of reverse engineered from that. So actually, it was sort of a way of kind of letting people in a bit. Personality wise, I suppose, but it's just me and what I personally find. It's us doing stuff that would make ourselves laugh, as opposed to what would an average member of the British public hopefully enjoy. So it's very dumb. It's really is the most immature thing I've ever been involved in.
Also, it would be impossible to be married to that Glenn. If you're doing Wagamothers, etc., on a night out, she's gonna. Because apparently Eric Morecambe was on all the time, wasn't he? It was apparently it was like it could be tough.
Oh yeah. Katie has a difficult life with me next to her. Like I'm just it's relentless bits at home, and I have to like really try to be serious. I think I'm gradually getting more serious as a person. But I was for years was impossible to have a sincere conversation with, like at all. Like even in like a therapy session, the priority would be like make the therapist laugh. That's what we're
It's a new audience.
It's a new audience.
This is such a weirdly personal question. So you're a comedian.
How big's your cock?
Katie is a comedy writer. And how big's your cock? Do you...
It's one of my favourite things to do to people. When you sort of go like, let's say you're asking 3 people a question, ask the first person a question, ask the second person a second question, ask the third person, well, look, you know what I'm going to ask you, Arnie? Biggest poo you've ever done. What's the biggest? I'm gonna move my hands apart, say when.
Do you remember that? I know it's not. I'm not saying it's peak League of Gentlemen, but the scene in the movie where is it David Warner as the villain goes, "From you, a lock of hair. From you, a toenail clipping. And from you, your eyes."
What film is this?
Do you remember that bit?
What film is this?
The League of Gentlemen.
The League of Gentlemen.
Oh, the League of Gentlemen movie. Right, yeah.
David Warner's the main villain.
Yes.
And the 3...
Yeah.
And I think it's Reece Shearsmith. He goes, "For you, your eyes." And then he's like, "What?" And the other 2 are like, "Oh, come on."
Anyway,
sorry, Tim. You never asked the question.
My incredibly personal question.
Yes.
So you and your partner both work in comedy.
Yes.
Do you want your kids to work in comedy, or do you be
No,
like...
no, absolutely not. No way.
Really?
No creativity for them. Serious jobs. I've got like my one of my best friends is an actuary, and I'm like, do that. Do the most boring thing you can and make so much money. Do a job so boring no one else wants to do it, and you will be well compensated. I think because it's I don't think this job's good for you.
No, maybe
like
not.
I don't think it's good for you. So I think as well, I don't know. I quite liked going into an industry that no one in my family had any connection to whatsoever, and you just had to just do it and work your way up, and there's no curriculum, and also as a result, there's kind of no expectation because no one knows how it should be going and what you should be doing.
Sure.
So no, look, whatever they want to do, then we're going to encourage that. It's if they really really wanted to go into something like comedy, then of course we'd encourage that, and also we'd be quite well placed to give them a few tips on pull back and reveal jokes, etc. But it's I don't know. I think you like I completely lost my 20s to this job in trying to do it professionally, and so many social events and stuff missed out on and the like that I don't look back on with envy, because I get to do those now, and it's all good fun, but I'm like it was so much work, and I sort of forget that, and so I'm sort of like, oh, would you want someone to like, do I like the idea of them being on an overnight megabus from Blackpool where they've been paid £15 to, you know, is that good? Is it safe? You know? So no, maybe. I don't know. I think I'd be like, no, just do anything else, because it'd make a more interesting family dynamic if we're all doing something different. But I mean, Katie has a wonderful time doing comedy as well. So, you know, we're both very happy doing it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and what's nice as well is because she's entirely a writer, that there's no there's no envy or anything. It must be quite difficult if you've got two stand-ups dating, and what if one of you gets booked for a thing and one of you doesn't, or, you know, one of you gets well reviewed by a certain publication, one of you doesn't, and that must be tricky. But we have such completely separate jobs, despite the fact that it is all joke writing. It means it's interesting for us to talk about when we get home, and also we're just not having, you know, we're having very different lives in the meantime.
Great answer,
I think.
By the way, do Tim and I do we smell a new tour?
My last one only finished about a month ago in Australia, so
Look, Katie's asked me to ask this.
I'm doing a 2-week whip at the Edinburgh Fringe at 11 a.m, which is my favourite time to do comedy. I love a morning show.
Lovely.
And
Lovely.
that would be with the aim of hopefully launching a new show at the Edinburgh Fringe the following year with an autumn tour. So maybe, yeah, a tour September 2027 would be ideal. But because, as I said, the tour has only just finished, I have zero new material, like zero jokes.
By the way, the show with Simon Parkin, the top of the. So do I take it that's in with a production company, or, you know, those sorts of chats are taking place?
No, it's produced by Avalon, my agency, who are an agency and also have a television branch. For instance, making Taskmaster.
Yes.
But so they would be the production company if it did go further. But I think we just wanted it. It's been a prototype version. Every single one we've been doing it once a month for a year, and it's all been one big prototype because the amount of tech involved is bananas. They are. It's Ben Drayton who produces Button Boys and Simon Parkin. They're on stage in the corner of a stage with a big table that has got an Xbox, Nintendo Switch 2, a PS5, a laptop, a PC. It's got all this stuff and all these controllers. And while one round is happening, they are setting up the other, and they've got to make sure there was a round, not to sort of spoil too much of a show, we'd always end on Sniper Elite, one of the Sniper Elite games, a Hitler penalty shootout. You each had to take turns killing Hitler, but you only get to kill Hitler in the end of the game. So they had to play through the entirety of the game to reach that safe state. And they've got all these safe states from different positions on the map of where you can kill Hitler from. So it'd be like, okay, first round, you're trying to kill him from this balcony. Second round, you're trying to kill him while he's running towards you. The amount of effort is absolutely insane. So they wanted to keep it at prototype stage for so long.
Glenmore, this is the rebooked format. I still don't really know how we get into this, but anyway.
Perfect.
No, I like it too. It's good.
Good. Who are your favourite acts to see in a green room?
I have one favourite,
Yes, please.
even though it's to my detriment, and I'll explain. Canadian act called David Sonos. And do you have this, James, an act you always die in front of?
Oh, mate, I'm so glad someone has said this out loud. It's like, you know, like in the 60s, Leicester were like Liverpool's bogey team. You know, every football team went through a phase of having a bogey team, and for whatever reason, what is that all about?
It's so strange. I think it gets to you after a while.
It becomes a self-fulfilling thing then, doesn't it?
But
you sort of program yourself to do shit in front of.
Yeah.
And it's bad for me because the person's Tim. I mean, it's just...
300 nights a year.
I can't catch a break.
Every time I go into a green room and he's there, he just smiles at me like, buddy, because he knows. It's a long-running joke we've had of like, I will die in front of him. And it's not just getting into my head. There have been times, especially at like the Edinburgh Fringe, where you just hop on any lineup, where I've died so hard, like phenomenally hard, and I'm like, what went wrong there? All the other acts were having a good one. I think I performed that to the best of my ability. The crowd just really didn't go for it. And I go backstage and he had arrived during my set and I didn't even know it. I'm like, There's something that happens. We are magnets that can't... It's so strange. So I do... like seeing him in a green room because not only is he lovely company and a very funny man, but it kind of gives me a sense of peace, like the end of Uncut Gems, where I'm like, well, there's no will they won't they, there's no how will this go. It's like, oh, tonight's a death. I'm going to die tonight, and that's good. I know that going in. There's nothing I like better than no expectations. I hate when you go to a gig and let's say you're on in the second half and you arrive at the interval and the promoter's like, they are unbelievable tonight. You would have to fuck up so badly to get anything less than a standing ovation. I hate it because of course they're going to suck. Whereas if I go there and I go, they're just really quiet tonight, I'm like, music to my ears. That's the best. It's the best thing you could ever hear.
Now, have you had a chat with a therapist about slaying this dragon?
As in this particular guy? No, I'm just like, because it's all been fairly inconsequential. It's not been like,
fine. Okay.
It's always been at a gig that I've never then heard about ever again. It's been like a one-off gig in like a hotel in the countryside, and I've never even entertained the possibility that, I hope we get rebooked. It's like it's never happened. So it's never been an issue. It's never been, oh god, the booker's in tonight and I've really got to impress them. It's never been that. It's always quite fun. It's always under quite fun circumstances.
Yeah, so it's never been, oh god,
I don't have a dartboard with his face on.
Yeah, or the boss of Mock the Week is in.
Yes, exactly that. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, if David got booked for Apollo and it was your episode, would you ask to switch?
So good.
I think but the thing is, everyone said that like Apollo's really hard. They're like, it's the hardest gig. It's not. I had a great time, but maybe it's because I had the warnings. Had the warnings of don't breathe in when you walk out because the smoke will get in your face. It's difficult because it's 3,000 people or whatever, and everyone's lit up. You can see them all. I'm like, that's what I loved about it. It was like, it's sometimes strange when you are performing in a large theatre like that, and it's pitch black, and you are performing into a strange void, and you hope that the void laughs back as one large mass. But in Apollo, you'd be like, oh my god, up in that top right corner is a seating group of 300 seats. And that's going on over there. And down in this corner here, there's another group of 250 people. Like, I loved seeing it all, and it was really, really nice. But I've heard people that have had like tough gigs. Nick Helm is the famous example of like specifically saying like after a set like that, like saying in interviews it went really, really badly. But if you watch Nick Helm's set, it's amazing. And he performs through it, and you would never guess. There's nothing. It's not even in his eyes that he's not having the gig he wanted.
We all love Nick. We all love Nick. But if he'd just not said anything,
the booker of Live at the Apollo told me that. He was like, no one would have ever known. No one would have ever known. He said that like people were walking out. He was like, it's because the show had overrun by like an hour. People were getting in the train. Like it wasn't to do with him. It was like he honestly. But I think it suits Nick Helm to say that, and you know it kind of makes sense and. It meant everyone watched his set. Everyone was so intrigued, and I loved it.
I know a comedian who watched his set, and it was so good that they were like, I don't even believe what he said on that interview.
Yeah.
Well, the booker Apollo told me I was really nervous, like on the night of, and I felt equally bad because I'd had to drop out of ABC that night as well, but.
Glenn, that's why we've got you on today.
Yeah,
for your apology.
Yeah. let me get my Dapper Laughs black polar neck, and we'll.
There's a question about him coming.
Timmy Mateless.
But I was like, I was obviously really nervous about it, and Anthony, the booker of the show, was like, he told me the best thing he could have done, which was he was like, Sean Locke did it, obviously countless times, but he said one of the times did it for some reason the audience just didn't go for it at all. And he said Sean Locke just really calmly walked off, and he said to Anthony, you can do something with that, can't you? And you go, oh yeah, of course, because it's like, it's then in the hands of they're never going to they wanted you on the show, they're not going to make you look shit. Like, of course they'll make it look good. And they'll cut to Warwick Davis laughing or whatever in the audience, and you know it'll be
weirdly
like,
stock footage.
Yeah, like really old of like someone who's been dead for years. Is that Raoul Moat? Why is Raoul Moat clapping? I'm like, do you remember Gaza? And it cuts to him like, hey,
Tottenham shirt on.
Yeah.
Who is the best new actor you've seen recently?
Best new act I've seen recently is... It's tricky to say new because I'm using new in the sense that they are debuting at the Edinburgh Fringe this year.
Right.
How many years they've been going, I don't know. But it's someone I saw at ABC Chelsea just a few weeks ago. I had never ever gigged with Dominic McGovern before, and he is fantastic. He was hosting the gig, and I was just hanging on to every word he said. He was just so quick and so charming, and just dresses amazingly. But he was just really funny both on and off stage, and it's one of those people when you hear they're debuting, you're like, well, I'm locking that in. At the Edinburgh Fringe, day one, I always try to see like 3 debuts, like on day one, because debuting is terrifying. And in those the first 3 days of the Fringe, no one's there. And so you go, well, partly it's not even to just fill seats, but you go, I'll always be a good audience member. Like, even if I wasn't enjoying a show, I'd still laugh when there's meant to be a laugh, sort of thing. And so but would always try. And also, I'm just intrigued. You're just always intrigued to see who's new. And that was like immediately locking it in. It was like a day one purchase. That will be
So brilliant, top dude, so funny, star quality. I mean, first time we saw Dom, he was without an agent, wasn't he, at the time, Tim?
Oh my God, yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, one of those acts, first time you see him, the what's Future Islands, David Letterman with Future Islands.
Yeah, I'll
take everything you got, buddy.
Yeah.
It was like that. Great, that's a great pick.
That's a great shout. Who is your favourite comedian who doesn't do it anymore?
Well, the person I was going to say, it's Russell Brand, probably, if I'm honest. But I think the person I was going to say, I went on Instagram and saw that they were doing a gig.
Hang on.
What?
The listener, he's joking. Just
sorry, yeah, I didn't.
It's absolutely clear, because I mean, someone who listens to this podcast will have just spat out their coffee. Well, that's the clip sorted this week anyway.
Yeah, I need to start doing I need to start signposting stuff more frequently. So I had
can't wait for the new Williams book.
This is what I did some gigs in New York like just before lockdown, and every gig I did in New York, it was just it was being met with like, oh my God, are you serious? Like every joke I was doing, it was so hard. Like I really struggled. I really struggled because I had to sort of say at the beginning. I had to start saying at the beginning. I'm not going to be like, all this is made up.
Oh,
so don't. And you just it was so annoying to have to do that. So I saw this person was gigging. The last evidence I can find is about this time last year. So there's a chance they might still be going, in which case, huge apologies to them for thinking they might have stopped. Tim Shishodia, who must have started comedy maybe like... I moved to London in 2013 in a bid to try and, sort of do it kind of professionally. And I'd started in Sheffield and I'd only done like 7 gigs ever over the course of like a couple of years, including like some of the new act competitions and the like. And there was a promoter in Sheffield there is a promoter in Sheffield called Anthony J. Brown. He's a one-liner comic and he's a very funny guy, but he runs loads of gigs called Stage Fright comedy across sort of South Yorkshire. And he was so generous, and he was always make sure every show he did, he'd have a couple of open spots in the middle. Was always keen to sort of bring people through, and he had a good eye for acts as well. I'd always be, if I was the open spot, I'd always be on with someone like Peter Brush or Amy Gledhill, also doing their first kind of gigs. And he would, and if you had good ones, he'd pay you. He'd pay you to do like an opening 20, and I was only a few gigs in and was getting paid work from this guy and doing these lovely Yorkshire gigs as well, where just Yorkshire audiences are just really delightful. And then I moved to London and was just so suddenly hit by the open mic circuit in London of like, there is no route from the open mic circuit to any development. It's just an enclosed sphere of insanity. And I was going to this place outside Liverpool Street Station called Dirty Dicks.
Yeah.
And it would be like 30 acts. You had to put your name down, 30 acts, 5 minutes. At 4 minutes, the compere stands on the stage and slowly reaches their hand out towards the microphone. So your final minute, you've got someone's hand like a Bo Peep hook around your neck. Like, it's just insane. And you'd obviously be on with like utterly bonkers people. And you'd sort of you'd meet people and you know who you'd get along with, and you'd see each other across the same sort of gigs. But it was such a strange. A lot of these gigs I went to, you'd almost kind of sometimes have like a Statler and Waldorf panel of like there were these three kind of older guys who sat on their own table next to the stage, and they would like heckle the acts whilst they were on. They themselves were comedians and would go on. And it was just the blind leading the blind. It was very really really strange gigs, but occasionally you'd see someone who was just phenomenal. And it was Tim Shishodia. He'd always wear a Hawaiian shirt. He had something of like John Candy's very friendly face about him, and it was very Harry Hill. It was so Harry Hill-esque. He was
Lovely guy.
Just chuckling, like from the moment he's on stage, like he'd just be laughing the whole time, and that it's in itself was really funny. But it was just bonkers, non sequiturs, just not like. And I just remember vividly, he'd always go like, "Oh, she," just pointing into the empty space. "Oh, she looks horrible. Wouldn't touch her with a barge pole." "Oh, she looks pretty. I would touch her with a barge pole." "Yeah, I would touch her with a barge pole." and it was just, and then he just moved on to something completely different. You know, I saw a cat the other day with a sign for a missing lamppost on it. It was all just nonsense. Yeah. And he did the Edinburgh Fringe maybe about 10 years ago, and I went along to see it. I think it was at the Mash House, the Just a Tonic venue, and Rob Beckett was in the audience as well. And it was so funny just seeing Rob Beckett just fucking losing his mind at this guy. And his big finale was he had this Tupperware that could only really fit one sausage in. It was like an entirely sausage-shaped Tupperware. And he just walked around the audience holding the Tupperware and let everyone have a turn with the sausage of putting the sausage in the Tupperware as he just did it silently for like 5 minutes. And I couldn't fucking breathe. It's just so funny. So funny. You can see some of his sets on YouTube and it's just brilliant. I hope he's still going, because it was just so joyful and idiotic. And that's just what I want. Like, I love important comedy, and I love comedy that makes you think, but ultimately I gravitate towards the comedy that Jim Carrey described as having your audience free from concern. Like that's all I want to do to an audience, and just be somewhere new and just laugh at silliness on stage. And I love imagination and creativity and stupidity, and that it was just that. He's brilliant.
So when I started around a similar time, 2010-ish. So Rob Beckett wins Leicester Square New Comedian 2009.
Right.
Shishodia won it 2010.
Ah, okay.
So Shishodia around that time was, if memory serves, Glenn, you back me up on this, I think he was hoovering up a lot of those competitions, and even if he wasn't winning, he was often placing and so on. He was very much one of the, red hot new acts, and a lovely bloke. I think not problem, but let's go. Like, the problem was he had a good day job, didn't he?
That's always I love it when that's the reason, and you go, great. That like James Loveridge had this. He used to compare at Top Secret a lot, and he made the decision probably about 6 years ago. He was like had a really good like high powered job, and it was toss up between that and comedy. And regardless of how fun comedy might have been, he did love his other job, and he now has this, still has this lovely job, lovely family, lovely house in the countryside, and he does beekeeping as a hobby and sells honey. I'm like, great. That's the best possible outcome.
Yeah, great.
Very lovely. What is a joke or a bit that you've retired that you secretly miss?
It's some jokes audiences just start to turn on after a while, and it's very strange where you go suddenly not in a I suppose this is offensive now, but there's a joke that people started to bristle at, and I had to get rid of it. It's a joke about Hitler, and I fortunately, like, I recorded it. It's in my special, and I did a version of it on Mock the Week as well. So like, evidence exists, and it's fine, it's there, and I'm glad that I managed to get versions of it before it started to go really kind of awry. But
Hang on, we've let you down here. We've not mentioned the special.
Oh, that's okay. I have.
Is it out now?
Yes, I have a special on Sky. It came out on Christmas, over Christmas, and so it's on Sky and Now TV. So on demand, you can watch it whenever you want. And couldn't believe it. It was I'd filmed it a couple of years ago, and basically the aforementioned agency I'm with, Avalon, had a number of acts who had specials lined up. So John Kearns was filming a Sky special. Ahe was filming a Netflix special. Flo and Joan, I think, had a Sky special as well. And a couple of people had HBO ones or whatever. Right. So they hired a sort of a West End theatre that they had for a couple of weeks, and they were just doing these specials, 2 a night. And they said to me, I know you don't have anything purchased by a channel or anything like that, but we think if we film that particular show, it's my 2022 Fringe show, we would like to film it and then try and sort of sell it afterwards. And so I got to film it back to back with Anya Magliano.
Great.
And she was in a similar position where they sort of said, this isn't in place yet, but we think we can film something, we think we can sell something. And so I got to perform at the Royal Court, and it felt amazing to do. But I wish I'd enjoyed it more at the time, because it wasn't already going somewhere. I felt silly, because they were like, you can make the stage look like whatever you want. What backdrop do you want? Genuinely, the sky's the limit. Money's not what do you want? We can do it.
And you were like, have you seen Johnny English 3?
But it felt like I was doing a sort of give it a go experience day, as opposed to this is real, because it wasn't going to anything. Whereas I envy to say Arhen knows this is going on Netflix, so he can make this look exactly what he wants. Whereas I was like, well, I'd feel like I was being a bit divish if I asked for anything, because we're doing this out of politeness to me, I guess. This isn't this isn't going anywhere. I don't know what it's going to sit in a. Because previously we were going to film it and just put it straight on YouTube, which was I was like, well, at least people will see it. This will sit in a vault and it won't go. And I was so grateful. I cannot stress enough how grateful I was to be given this opportunity. But I worried I was wasting everyone's time, because the camera.
He's so likable.
He's wonderful. He's wonderful.
He's so likable. My heart is full.
What do you mean?
You're so. This is a common thread with Always Be Comedy acts, is how self-deprecating they are, and this is. Off the chart. This is sensational.
But I don't think I'm insane for thinking this, because I felt like the camera operators and the producers and the people editing it, they had no idea which specials were going where. So they just kept referring to it as your TV special or whatever. Sure. And I felt like I was like, oh, do they know how I hope they don't know how futile this is. I hope they don't know that I feel like obviously they're getting paid either way, but I was just like, I don't know. I can't really put my finger on it, and so that feeling sort of intensified when a couple of weeks later I was then in got to go to an editing suite, and they were like, "What camera angles do you want? Which camera do you want us to switch to for this joke and this stuff?" And I was thinking why don't we do this once it's if it then gets purged, So it just felt a bit it felt very strange, and I wish I'd enjoyed it more at the time, because then it didn't hit anything for nearly 2 years, and then Sky said they wanted it. So then I was like, oh, I'm so proud of it, and I'm so grateful that it is, people can see it, because I had kind of given up hope on it, I guess. But I never could have anticipated to have this is your own corner of television, this is your own TV show that's just you. You're the only thing people see in that thing, and that's
amazing.
On television, it's a special, and I feel so grateful about that. But yes, at the time, because I didn't know it was for anything, whether it was going to be for anything, I didn't have that feeling at the time. I think.
How does it chop up for the sweet socials?
I am limited to what I can put on socials until I get the rights back, which will be at the end of this year. So at the end of this year, I'm putting it straight on YouTube, the whole thing. Great. But I'm limited to 6 clips, I think. So a couple have already gone out, and then I'm going to do the others. But I mean, the show had 300 or so jokes. I'm gonna make 300 clips. It will all be on the. You could flick through my Instagram like a flick book and get the whole special. Yeah.
And one of the jokes in that special was this Hitler joke.
A Hitler joke about.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Again, it's untrue. But I only found out last year that Hitler. I'm talking about me being naive, and I know so little, but like I only found out last year that Hitler shot himself, and I thought he'd been like blown up in prison or killed in shot to death or something like that. But I only found out last year that he took his own life, which just goes to show, like, God, you never know what people are going through. And yeah, it started to, in the last year or so, it started to get like sour with audiences. It was very strange. I don't know if it was the key word of Hitler. It's strange that certain names get an ooh regardless of what the content is. For instance, I find it very strange that no matter what the context is, if you say Whitney Houston on stage, people go, ooh. Whereas if you say John Lennon, who was murdered, people don't go, ooh. Because I guess John Lennon's not defined by his murder. Whereas Whitney Houston, despite having a phenomenal career, feels slightly defined by the circumstances of her death, I think. And that's one of the first things people would think about, I think.
I've seen Prince Andrew jokes get an ooh, and you're like, what are you doing?
Whose side do you want?
Are
Yeah.
you pro Andrew here?
But people hear...
What?
People hear... There was a joke I had to change years ago about me being so formal that I say Father Longlegs instead of just that vicar with the long legs. Yeah. But previously it was priest. I'd say priest with the long legs, and it would always get like an oh, and it was driving me insane because I was like, you haven't listened. Well, one guy said "oh" once, and I said, "I'm so sorry to stop the gig. I genuinely mean this politely. Can I ask why you oohed?" And he went, "You just said you got molested by a priest." And I went, "No, I fucking didn't." And I said, "Did everyone? Who else thought I just said I got molested by a priest?" Maybe half the audience put their hands up, and it was like the comprehension is
because of the word priest and their instant connotations,
and they just then didn't hear the rest of it. Or people who were drunk and they just go, "I picked up on the key words. I heard enough."
Oh my god!
It was crazy. Yeah. So it might be that. It might be the mention of Hitler that does it. But I've had to get rid of it.
God.
Great joke as well.
Thank you.
Great joke. Which Piers joke or bit do you wish you had written?
Johnny White really has the greatest opening joke I've ever heard in my life. I remember Pierre Novelli and I were in a gig downstairs in a pub in Farringdon. And I'd never seen Johnny White before. Pierre had gone to uni with him. And his opening joke is so good. In which he'd go, he'd just like walk on stage, not say hi or anything like that. And he'd go, "Do you think mayors are like town mayors are like football managers? Like, do you think they sort of get like moved from town to town? Is that what you think?" It's the most pain I've ever had from laughing, to the point where I thought I'd like suffered internal injuries. A bit of me inside really hurt from hearing that because it made me laugh so hard.
Oh my god, that's superb. Do you know why it's called Johnny White? Really? I won't reveal it, even if you do. But
no, I don't. I want to know why.
Okay, I'll tell you after the episode.
Thank you.
You'll really like this.
Okay. Johnny White is so good that the show that is the special, I took back to the Fringe the following year for like 2 weeks to do in the Pleasance Courtyard, and he came with his girlfriend who works in TV, and when I was so nervous that he was in the audience because I was like, he's so good, there's no way he'll think this is good. Like I'm about to waste his time for an hour. There's certain acts who are just so their sense of humor is just on a different plane.
Sure.
That you go that show Tim Key saw my show and I was like, oh, there's no way Tim Key's enjoying this, even though I can make Tim Key laugh in conversation. So I was like, why wouldn't I think it would happen on it? But it's just a looking up to people thing, you know?
Sure. Yeah. What is the weirdest way you've made money to supplement comedy?
This was when I was very new. I mean, my first, I guess it is kind of a weird way that I was previously a newsreader, like at Sky News. Yeah. That's the most deadly serious job. Deadly serious. But my first job working as a newsreader in Sheffield, around the corner from Hillsborough Stadium, and I was trying to make enough money from comedy as well to be able to move to London and pursue it fully. me and a friend who were in a sketch duo together for a few years, we got asked by a nightclub in Sheffield called Plug, which was one of my favourite nightclubs to go to at the time. They were having an Alan Partridge themed night, and they asked if my friend could be Alan Partridge and greet people as they came into the club, and me if I could dress up as a gorilla and play monkey tennis on stage with another person dressed as a monkey. And we were going to get paid about £50 to do this. And I was like, fuck, that's great. Like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We got to the venue. There was no signage or anything we could see online to imply that this was an Alan Partridge themed night. No one was coming to the night dressed as Alan Partridge. My friend was stood at the front door going, aha, you know, and everyone's like, what, who is this? Like, he was dressed like for pub golf, basically. When you think about it, Alan Partridge dresses like pub golf. So he just looked like he was doing pub golf. And everyone was just confused because they were trying to get past him to go to the cloakroom. In a baking hot nightclub.
Quite literally handing your coat in.
In a scalding hot nightclub, I wouldn't recommend a full monkey outfit. But the other gorilla just didn't show up.
No!
So I had to do that thing with a table tennis table where you flip up one side and turn it into a squash court. So I was just on this stage playing table tennis with no fanfare, nothing around me. I wasn't introduced or anything like that. No one was looking in my direction. To the point where if you were on like MDMA or whatever, you'd looked over and been like, is that fucking monk? Like,
yeah.
Like you'd have questioned whether or not you saw it.
Is everyone seeing this?
Yeah. And we went to the manager's office at the end of our sort of shift, and his door was locked, and we were thumping on the door, and he just kept going, fuck off, fuck off, fuck off. And we went back the following night, and again he just told us to fuck off, and we never got paid.
Are you joking?
Never got paid to be a monkey.
Oh my!
That is outrageous.
Absolutely outrageous. Yeah.
Why is he telling you to fuck off?
Just wasn't interested in paying us because he was like, well, it's clearly no one's excited about this Alan Partridge night, and it's your fault.
He's still got to pay up.
Still got to pay up.
Especially when he's obviously not put the posters up and what have you.
I know. I didn't even get to keep the gorilla outfit. Had to give it back.
Gosh.
Oh, that's great.
It's like a Saved by the Bell. Like, was it definitely a real thing?
Yeah, for sure.
Or was the jock doing a prank on the two sketch boys?
Yeah. Your mate Bacardi Breezers 2 for 1. Oh my god. Brilliant. So good.
God. Final question.
Yeah.
Best advice, perhaps from another comedian or something you've learned along the way.
If you're dressing as a monkey, get the money up.
Yeah, always get paid up front.
I still have it somewhere, and it used to be on my wall. My first ever gig was the Chortle Student Comedy Competition, which is on YouTube. My first gig is on YouTube. And then my second gig was the semi-final, and then my third gig was the final. So I had big gaps, like 3-month gaps in between my gigs. And the Chortle Student semi-final was in Manchester, and I was at the University of Sheffield. And there was like an improv group. The only type of comedy there was an improv group. Yeah. And then by the time I was leaving, in like my final year, a sketch group started. And that had people like Sam Nicoresti, most recent Edinburgh Comedy Award winner, Sean Morley, but before then it was only improv, and the university used to get the improv group to basically steward big comedy events at the university, because then you basically get a free ticket to whatever was on. And so Tim Vine was playing the Octagon in Sheffield at the university, and I really wanted to see Tim Vine. And because of a Chortle Student semi-final, I couldn't make it. So what my friends did is they took what would have been my ticket, and they gave it to Tim Vine and said, a friend of ours is doing his second ever gig tonight, and it's a comedy competition. Can you just sign a little message? All he had to do was just literally write Tim Vine, but instead he said, just keep getting up on stage. That's the trick. Go for it, Tim Vine. And it's very, very simple. And I obviously, of course it makes sense to just keep getting up on stage, but also it was like, oh yeah, you just got to keep on, because the year afterwards I then had my first like deaths on stage, and just it's so easy when you're very new that when you die on stage to just go, well, I'm the worst ever, I should stop doing this immediately. And in reality, you should implement the Millikan rule of, forget about it the next day, regardless of how well or how badly it's gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not it's not deep advice or anything like that. But it's my favourite bit of advice because it was the first bit of advice I ever got, and it was from Tim Vine. So that I still cherish that little that ticket. And I've only met him a couple of times since. One of which was. I mentioned earlier getting a megabus back from Blackpool for £15. That was actually a gig I did, and I arrived in Blackpool so early that I went to the Pleasure Beach on my own. I went to the theme park on my own, and I bumped into Tim Vine's tour manager, who I did know, and Tim Vine as well, because he was doing he was doing a big tour show in Blackpool that night, and they were just spending the day at the Pleasure Beach. So I hung out with them, and we got stuck. Me and Tim Vine got stuck on the big one together. We got stuck on it. We were stuck at the top for 45 minutes. We had a lovely.
Oh my god!
Was it Jobbins?
It was Jobbins. Yeah.
Lovely, very nice.
When I was a brand new act, I don't know how I got his email address. Oh, I interviewed him for Shortlist, and this would be 2010. I was trying to find the email. The line was from him. There's no substitute for standing under the lights. I mean, it's basically the same advice, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Am I stupid? I'm not sure I understand.
He means you can give all the advice in the world when it comes to comedy, but ultimately you've got to get.
That's the only thing you can know. There's no obviously this isn't a slight on stand-up comedy courses. I mean, so many great comedians have done them, but it's like if a stand-up comedy course was only theory and at no point did you get to perform. You wouldn't be learning anything that way. You have to be I feel so much. I feel so comfortable on stage. At times, I miss how nervous I used to be. I miss that thrill, that genuine fear before a gig. And I only very occasionally get it if you do a gig where you look at the audience and you go, I'm not for them. And I know I'm not for them. And a bunch of men in short sleeve check shirts, arms folded so hard. It's like causing a dent in their chest. And you're like, they're not going to like me. And I get really scared. And I like that. Because that's what it was all about.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's good to address that. Do you ever do that if it's tough? Because sometimes that can work, can't it?
I'm fourth wall up. I'm going to perform at them for my set, and then I'm like, let's see if I can break through. But just keep your head down and plow through. That's what you got to, in the same way that at a corporate gig, I suppose you'd do that. I did a corporate gig this year. And it went really badly. It went really bad. I had them for the first few minutes. I was only doing 10 minutes. But the first few minutes, I had them, and then people just started talking. And just talking. And then eventually I'd lost the entire room. And I just head down, don't address it, just keep talking. Just talk. Just do your set. I did my set.
And contractually, you've got to do your time, haven't you?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm reliant on this thing. And I came off stage, and the person who'd booked me was like, does it always go like that? And I was like, these corporate gigs can be quite, and I was like, this is bad. And I went to a bar that was in the next building along, in the same grounds as the hotel. But I went to the bar, and I sat down on a sofa, fuck, that was hard. But it's over now. It's absolutely fine. And these three people came in and sat on the sofa behind me, who had been in that room, and they just didn't know I was there, and they just methodically went through my set and how shit they found me. And I just had to sit there and just listen to it, because I was like, I can't now get up and leave because they'll notice me and they'll then think I'm rude for having not allowed them to talk so openly, and this one woman in particular had a really key, such a good understanding of comedy and what works and what doesn't. When she was just he was just performing at us. He didn't address how it was going. He didn't address the changes in the room. And it was I was thinking, yeah, she's absolutely right. She's nailed that. So it is wrong for me to, if it's going badly, to just go, we'll just perform it anyway. And then you've done. They cannot deny they've heard a ton of material, but you should address it, because it means it's in the moment and it's in the room, and it feels like a sentence you've never said before.
One of the reasons why we love Glenn so much, and the listener will be, I think, thinking the same. This is one of the most successful comedians in the country.
Hard to disagree.
No, that is a fact.
Oh,
whether you like it or not, you are one of the most successful comedians in the country. but to chat with you, you would never know it. And I think that's true of every comedian that we rebook at Always Be Comedy.
Right.
I mean, I've socialised with arena-filling comedians.
Yeah.
And to chat with them, you wouldn't. If anyone was eavesdropping, they would never know that they were. Does that make sense?
I think what it is it's frog in boiling water. You don't notice everything. If you're on an upwards trajectory, you don't always notice it, especially if it happens gradually. You'll occasionally get someone who's just suddenly thrust into the limelight and everything must happen at once. That must be amazing. But if everything's gradually happening like over the course of a number of years, you don't notice it. And I guess you don't notice that the groups of comedians you're performing with are different. And then you start to, so for instance, at an open mic night, for instance, back in the day, that no one's separated by quality or ability. We're all in this together. Everyone's getting to try it themselves. And then if you start to gig at a place like Always Be Comedy, and you could be realistically sharing a bill with Kevin Bridges and Catherine Ryan or whatever in the same night, you're then at the bottom of that sort of social pool, I guess. And so I don't even know what I'm saying. But I mean, I guess if you're someone at Kevin Bridges' level, you might suddenly find yourself at a very glitzy event where like Rowan Atkinson might be. You don't know what I mean? Like there's
Always back to Johnny English.
Always.
Couldn't resist. So yeah, it might. Yeah, I feel like my life is exactly the same as it was 10 years ago. I realise it isn't. But yeah, I guess you just don't notice stuff. Do you know what has been really handy for appreciating stuff is the aforementioned Sky special that I do occasionally sort of think about. Like, go, fuck yeah, the Sky special. Fuck, that's so good. Like, right. So happy about it. So happy about it.
And even like being invited back. You're now. I would say that you're one of the handful of acts who are synonymous with Mock the Week, and maybe you don't realise that.
Oh, that's nice. That's very nice of you to say. I remember doing. Where was it? It was in Canada. It was Just for Laughs. It was with Celia AB and Amy Gledhill, and this was like a year after Mock got cancelled on the BBC. But they were saying that they were like, "Well, you were like I think they thought I was like a team captain or something like that." And I was like, "No, I did. I think I did something like 9 episodes ever, like of that." Oh. But yeah, I was, like before I got cancelled, I think somewhere between like 9 and 11. I think not like
10.
Like I love that.
Lovely stuff. It's another clip. But if you'd said 50, we'd all believe it.
That's what I mean. They thought so. I was like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna tell. In which case, I'm not gonna tell anyone how many I've really done, because if people think I've done more, then great. I'll take that.
I've heard Anthony Jeselnik say. Jeselnik said like people would say, "Oh, you did all the roasts," and I think he said something like, "I did 2."
Yeah. And you go, but that's a good thing if people think you're on more like. I remember talking to Pierre about this ages ago. He was like, years ago, he was like, would you rather have an Edinburgh show that goes really badly, but everyone thought it went well, or an Edinburgh show that went incredibly well, but when you come back, everyone thought it was like dog shit?
Oh, God.
So, and you go, definitely it went badly, but everyone thought it went well. Definitely that one. I've had the opposite. Like in 2018, I was very fortunate to get nominated for the Edinburgh Comedy Award. And in the days leading up to it, obviously that's when all the judges come. So I was posting about it online every day, being like, today would be a lovely day to come to my show, sort of thing, to try and get sort of full of friends. And when I got back home, I did a gig like weeks later, and a promoter I used to work with quite a bit was like, I'm so sorry about Edinburgh, man. And I was like, what? He was like, you had like it went really badly. And I was like, no. And he was like, oh, me and a couple of acts were chatting about it the other day. You were just constantly posting like, please, I need audience members. Can anyone? And he was like, I thought you were having to like pull half your shows. And I was like, yeah, that is the worst outcome actually. To have had a good Edinburgh, but everyone thinks it went really badly. That's worse. Yeah, that's really bad.
I don't think he needed to say me and some acts we're talking about.
Yeah, he was like, oh, it's been like discussed. Yeah. It's been discussed elsewhere.
Me and all the bookers for television.
We decided, well, he must be quitting, so we decided to give it to. I've written down here your enemy. We've given it to your enemy. So no, with Mock, I never did more than 2 episodes a series. It'd be like 12 episodes, and I never did more than 2. Whereas, like, let's say someone who was probably, I mean, obviously now he is a team captain, but Reese would be doing like 6. The most you'd ever get was 6. So, like, the first season I did was Nish and Acaster's final one, and they were doing 6. Gamble would be doing 6. But I never did more than like 2. But also because by the time I started doing it, they changed their booking process, and they had to have like multiple debutantes on shows. And so there was just there wasn't as much space for returning faces. So, but this season, I've done 3 so far of the most recent seasons. I'm definitely I'm on it more now, and I love it because I didn't obviously I already missed it when it went, and it helped me so much. But it's been lovely. And it's so nice to have it back, and in a way that feels like, oh, it's here to stay. I was as reticent as anyone else was about it coming back. I assumed they wouldn't have Dara back. I assumed that he'd. I thought there is a chance that this just, I don't know, vanishes. But it was. People are so happy to have it back, and it just seems to be everywhere. I mean, seeing adverts on the tube for it, they certainly didn't have that by the time I started. But having like a big advertising push, and also because of the channel it's on, it's then advertised on like, I think it's like TNT or BT Sport maybe.
It is.
Yeah.
TNT.
So I've watched a match in a pub where during half time and an ad break, it suddenly cut to like Dara with like me stood behind him because the episode's on in like 2 days. That's really surreal. It doesn't feel as self-contained. It's sort of broken free of that. So that's really lovely.
Very cool. Glenn, you're a top dude. You deserve all the success coming your way.
Oh, that's very nice of you to say.
That's quite sinister how I said that.
No, that's
turn around. There's a hitman with a gun. What? No, thanks a lot, dude. We'll see you soon. Huge thanks to the great Glenn Moore. This is where Tim will have a better "What Did We Learn" than me. Tim, what did we learn from The People's Prince?
Yeah. Well, will I have a better one? I don't know. You know what? He references the Johnny White really, really opening joke. I've been thinking about that a lot and just sort of chuckling to myself about the town mayors. Very funny.
Well, it's funny because I didn't know that where he got the name from as well. I didn't know that.
No, that was off record, to be fair. But yeah.
Oh, was that an off the record
nugget? Just in case. I never know what people want to know and what they don't. But yours can be an off the record thing, to be fair.
It probably shouldn't be. You know what? Glenn did that. I learned that Glenn is someone. I knew he'd done the hard yards, but when he revealed that he'd done, say, Christian radio, was that off the record as well?
No, I think that's in.
There was quite a bit that was said off the record. I think what I realised is the people that spent years working in radio, and I was in print media for a long time. You do have to do unless you're one of these people where this is where my chip on the shoulder comes through. Giles Corran. Did you ever see Anne Robinson taken to task about being an Epo baby?
No, but it sounds fantastic.
It's pretty funny. Hang on. Who was his dad? It was...
Is he a travel writer or something?
It was Alan, of course. Alan Corran, who was a well-known English writer. Here we go. Humorist, broadcaster, satirist. So what happens is Anne Robinson says something like to Giles. Sorry if I've... This is like the old... Quickly, Kevin, do I remember this right? But she basically said, what do you do for a living? And it's like, I'm a journalist. And where do you work? The Times. And then she said something like, oh my gosh, what coincidence, because your dad worked at the Times, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Pretty good stuff.
It's completely reasonable.
So yeah, unless there's a bit of that going on, you've got to do the hard yards.
Yes, Victoria Coren Mitchell, however, I think is fantastic.
Everyone loves Victoria Coren Mitchell.
Absolutely, but yes, Glenn.
That is so true, because Victoria Coren Mitchell, always seems so lovely.
Oh yeah.
And so I don't think you'd never. God, I'm not on much sleep here, so maybe I'm going all in on not much Kip. So no, I don't think she ever gets the nepo baby thing. Could be wrong. Whereas because Giles Corran isn't particularly likable,
No.
then he does get it, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I, Victoria might dodge it by being, by all accounts, a lovely person to work with.
So the lesson is be lovely.
Be lovely. I'm on Anne Robinson's Wikipedia page now, just out of curiosity. Do you know who her partner is?
No.
It's Andrew Parker Bowles, the former husband of Queen Camilla.
What?
I know.
This is sensational.
Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating.
Oh, hang on. Here's a twist.
Oh, no.
I think it looks like Giles Corran and Anne Robinson are actually quite pally.
Oh, it was playful banter.
It might have been a bit of playful banter.
Okay. Well, no harm in that.
You know what? Can't we all just get along?
We like Giles Corran.
You know what? Can I shock you? I like Giles Corran.
See you next week for our Giles Corran special.
I'd have him on, mate, because he would used to. I think things got leaked or something happened, but basically he would have a pop at the sub editors, and I think some of his exchanges with sub editors would somehow magically find their way into the public domain.
Yes, yes, I think you're right.
Why do I feel like I'm on thin ice here? That is a thing, isn't it? Oh yeah, guys. If you Google Giles Corran sub-editor rant, oh, you're welcome.
Goodness me. Yeah, you know what? Treat yourself.
Treat yourself. You know who would never rant to sub-editors?
Is it Glenn Moore or is it Victoria Corn Mitchell? Or is it both?
It's both. You know what? It's the bloody dynamic duo, Victoria and Glenn. Look, have a great week, everyone. Thank you as always. We will see you at a show soon. God bless us all. See you soon. Thanks, guys.